You know, you've probably seen this landmark 1,000 times. It's that silhouette that just screams New York. But the Brooklyn Bridge is so much more than just a pretty picture. It's really a story of impossible dreams, incredible sacrifice, and this constant battle to stay relevant. So today, we're going to unpack that whole story, from its very foundations all the way up to the challenges it's facing right now in the 21st century.
For well over a century, this has been the view. It's this powerful symbol of ambition, of connection, and really of the relentless spirit of a city. It was, and in a lot of ways it still is, a true wonder of the modern world. But that makes you wonder, doesn't it? It raises this really crucial question that echoes from the day they first broke ground right up to today. What is the true cost of an icon like this? Not just in money, but in human life and ingenuity, and maybe even more important, what does it take to keep it going? So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the audacious vision behind it, then the heavy price that was paid to build it. After that, we'll explore its long and ever-changing life, the crisis of its own popularity, and finally, the bold plans to re-engineer it for a whole new century. Okay, so the story of the Brooklyn Bridge really starts with a vision that most people at the time thought was completely insane. The civil engineer, John A. Roebling, he didn't just want to build a bridge. He wanted to build a monument that would pretty much defy everything people thought they knew about engineering. And this was not just another bridge. I mean, at nearly 1,600 feet, its main span just shattered world records. Its towers were going to dwarf the entire city skyline. And, this is so important, it was the very first bridge to use galvanized steel wire. This material was so new that Roebling's own company had to invent the machinery just to make it. He even designed it with 6 trusses, specifically to handle, in his own words, the effects of violent gales. The man was thinking way, way ahead. So, you see, this isn't just a blueprint for a bridge. It's really a blueprint for a whole new era of industrial power. The bridge needed new tech, so the Roeblings just invented it. They created these massive, incredible machines, like this one, just to spin the thousands of miles of steel wire they needed.
But all of this incredible innovation, it came at a staggering price. The story of the Brooklyn Bridge isn't just about steel and grand designs. It's also a deeply human story of tragedy and almost unbelievable resilience. Honestly, this story is almost Shakespearean. John Roebling dies in this freak accident right before his dream project even begins. His son, Washington, steps up and brilliantly takes the lead, only to be struck down himself by this mysterious illness. So for the next 11 years, he directs the entire unbelievably complex construction from his sickbed. His wife, Emily Warren Roebling, becomes his eyes, his ears, and his voice on the ground. She taught herself engineering to see the project through. It's just an incredible family saga literally built into the bridge's foundations. Now, this illness that crippled Washington Roebling and so many of the workers was a complete medical mystery back then. They called it casein disease. Today, we know it as decompression sickness, or the bends. It's this terrifying condition caused by nitrogen bubbles forming in your bloodstream. And the source of this mystery illness was a place of just incredible danger, the caissons. To build the tower foundations on the riverbed, workers had to go down into these enormous airtight wooden boxes. They pumped compressed air in to keep the water out, but it created this incredibly hostile environment deep, deep beneath the East River. This quote from 2 French doctors back in 1854 is just chillingly accurate. Workers actually felt fine, maybe even a little stronger, inside the pressurized caisson. The danger was completely hidden. It only struck them after they came back out to normal air pressure. You paid the price on the way out, and for many, that price was their life. And the final sobering number is around 27. At least 27 people, including the original designer, died to create this masterpiece. It's a permanent reminder of the huge human sacrifice that it takes to build the future. So, after its grand opening in 1883, the bridge didn't just sit there, it began a whole new life, one where it was constantly adapting to the needs of a city that was just exploding in size and speed. I mean, just look at this evolution. It started out with horse-drawn carriages and trains. Then, by the turn of the century, it's carrying trolleys. Fast forward to 1950, they do this massive reconstruction, rip out all the tracks to make way for the age of the automobile, creating 6 lanes for cars. And then, just recently in 2021, the bridge adapted again.
taking back one of those car lanes for a dedicated bike path. It's like a living, breathing piece of the city. But all of this adaptability has led to a very modern crisis. The bridge has become so popular, so iconic, that it's now a victim of its own success. It's even earned the nickname Times Square in the sky. This comparison says it all, doesn't it? On the left, you see this leisurely, calm stroll shortly after the bridge opened. And on the right, well, that's the reality of today. A packed, often chaotic experience for thousands of pedestrians and cyclists all crammed into the same narrow space.
And the numbers are just staggering. In only 7 years between 2008 and 2015, the number of pedestrians on a weekend skyrocketed by 275%. And cyclist traffic, it more than doubled. Now, part of this was a new interest in walking and biking in the city, but a huge part was the rise of social media, that Instagram effect, which turned the bridge into an absolute must-see photo op. The historic promenade was just never designed for this kind of traffic. And the results are exactly what you'd expect. The NYC Department of Transportation saw constant conflicts, dangerous bottlenecks from vendors clogging up the entrances, and just an overall experience that was becoming unsafe and, frankly, not that much fun for anyone. It was clear that something had to change. Which brings us to the bridge's next great transformation. Faced with this crisis of congestion, the city started asking a really tough question. How do we re-engineer this 19th century landmark for the 21st century and beyond?
So the official response was to launch a huge study. The main mission was to figure out if it was even structurally possible to widen that famous elevated promenade to give people more room to breathe. And here's the core idea in its simplest form. The top diagram shows you the existing narrow walkway perched right above the car lanes. The bottom one shows the proposal, a dramatically expanded promenade potentially doubling the available space. Now, this isn't just some minor tweak. It's a total reimagining of how people experience the bridge. And this rendering gives us a little glimpse of that possible future. A wide, open, and safe space where pedestrians can stroll and cyclists can ride without constantly bumping into each other. It's a vision that totally respects the bridge's history while boldly preparing it for its next 100 years. And all of this leaves us with a final, really profound question. The Brooklyn Bridge is more than just a way to get across a river. It's a test case. Its story forces us to ask, how do we honor these incredible legacies of the past while also making sure they have a vibrant and functional place in the world of tomorrow?